Alright, so I'm in what will be a mobile alternative media studio that the guy's actually going to camp in for a little while too, because he's been homeless. And I'm building this as one of my quasi-charitable projects, but I'm still documenting it as one of my handyman projects. But just to be clear to the viewers out there, this is somebody else's thing. And I'll put a link to the guy's channel. But I'm going to say something else. There's this trend I've started to see with the line being blurred between e-begging and raising money for projects, okay? And we all know, like I've been watching over, I think it was Rob's Homemade Life or Off-Grid Solar Cabin, a couple of the other guys, that people realize, hey, this guy's kind of living in the backwoods, he's living in a trailer, hey, let's pitch in for this. And they get contributions on their projects and on their stuff. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a veteran. I've had hard times in the past, but I don't do crybaby stuff online because it's not all that horrible for me now, but it was in the past. And you're not into dope or any of that kind of shit. But let's just say me and my divorce from the government were not a happy thing, and there was very little sympathy out there for me, but then that was before the whole YouTube thing and before social media became what it was. But when I turn on my YouTube in the morning, and I'm one of those internet addict people for sure, and I see somebody who spends probably, you know, a couple hundred videos out there waving thousands of dollars worth of guns and gear in front of the camera, talking about how he needs to raise money from contributions to pay for cameras to do more videos, I gotta call bullshit somehow, somewhere. And I hate to do it because I have considered the guy a friend, but you know, if you're making good money and you're making videos and you want to have social media and become popular, great. You know, when I'm making money and I'm doing projects, I video those projects. I make a little advertising money on my channel. It's not enough to make a major difference in my life, but it helps. It really does help. And it pays for my camera stuff. It pays for my internet service at the house. It pays for some of the toys and gadgets that I do reviews on. But when I see some guy waving thousands of dollars worth of guns and gear in front of a camera and then saying, oh, well, I need money to improve my YouTube channel. What the fuck you doing, man? There's a point when you've crossed the line between e-begging and raising capital for a project. Now, when you're raising capital for a project, there has to be some perception of value for the people that are putting the capital in. And that's where we get into the fallacies of the dot-com boom, especially of the late 1990s, and why we criticize the Clinton years so much is because it was a false economy. The false economy was based on burning up investor money and not really producing anything. In fact, a lot of those companies that so-called cut out the middlemen, like in the car business, destroyed sectors of the economy. They destroyed a lot of local car dealerships by raising popularity of online car buying, which was really basically going through fleet departments of large dealerships in areas where the real estate and cost of business was much lower. And of course they drove a lot of local dealerships out of business. When that happened, then there wasn't really local expert service for a lot of name brands in a lot of areas, and it killed sales. I mean, it killed the businesses in the long term, but nobody really cared because it made millions of dollars burning up investor money. So when I see crowdfunding on stuff, I think, okay, that's neat, but you know what? There's a criminal element to it that you don't want to get into the ethics of raising investor capital for the purpose of burning up investor capital. If you're gonna raise money for something and say that it's donations or contributions as a workaround because it's really just a shitty investment, you know, get lost. Really, seriously, don't come around to any of my social media asking for money. Now, if it's a truly charitable situation, somebody who's been a part of a community The guy this is going to has been a part of the alternative media community for a long time. I consider this a worthy project, and I'm contributing to it, okay? But when I see guys waving thousands of dollars worth of stuff in front of a camera and saying, you know, send me money so I can enhance my social media to make it slicker, what the fuck are you thinking? Now, that's one guy who in the past I considered a friend, and even now probably, you know, an acquaintance to some degree. I got another guy who went to Washington, D.C., got himself in trouble waving a gun in front of the Capitol building, wanted to raise money for his legal bills. I'm like, gee whiz, man, it's not like the feds came and got you for something. You went and you kicked him in the shins, man. Now that same guy wants to raise $100,000 to make himself famous in a more famous television show so he can pay the people who do his video production. Well, is there nothing else you can do to make money? I work, okay? I build shit, I do shit. Locally, I mean, people, you know, I got to ask that Craigslist. I work shit and I do shit, okay? The guy I'm building this for, he's starting to work with me on stuff. But the other thing is, if he's trying to raise money for a project, it says we're raising money, we're going to go here, we're going to film this, we're going to film that, we're going to go to these different off-grid places and have a meet and greet and that sort of a thing, then that's funding social media to a degree. But that's also somebody who's, you know, doesn't have tens of thousands of dollars worth a month worth of other income. And, you know, that's the difference. Just because for some reason it's become somewhat socially cool to e-bag or sell investments that are so shitty you have to call them a contribution, then don't do it, okay? And I'll tell you right now, I will never go, you know, as long as I'm able-bodied and able to work, I'm not going to go out e-begging on my own behalf. Now, if somebody else wants to talk and say, hey, this guy could use this or use that to further a project, that to me adds a little legitimacy to the program. One of the reasons I unsubscribed George for Title, we're always hearing this guy cry for something. When I invited him to Portland, Oregon to work, oh, he's got better things to do elsewhere. Now, when Alex Ansary was on hard time, I invited him over. I said, we'll work, we'll build you an alternative to dwelling, we'll do all this. The guy goes for it. That's more ethics than some of these guys that are asking for hundreds of thousands of dollars to go on some big adventure or something. There's another guy, Iraq war vet, another Marine Corps guy, wants to go and visit all the militia people in the country and do videos and raise money to do it. Gas isn't that expensive, and I know he's got like 3, 4, 10 times the subscribers I do. You know, why not work while you're doing these things? You know, why not work? I don't understand that. You know, you can work, you can earn, you can become a participant in the economy. That's one of the things I have a resentment over with other veterans, especially people who, and I'm not going to single that guy out because I know he was probably at about the same rank I was. But when I hear guys that made E6, E7, E8, or they made E3 in like 2.5, 3 years, I'm sorry, made E5 in like 2 or 3 years, and then they're e-begging, I'm like, dude, you made E5 in 2 years. When we were in the service, the same type of guy was always in my face about how he was, you know, like better than me. And, you know, you made E5 in 2 or 3 years and got a chest full of ribbons and now e-begging. I don't understand that. There's plenty of veteran programs out there. I know about them. You know about them. There's a lot out there. You can go take care of old folks at the VA hospital. They give you a stipend for doing that. And it's interesting because when I go to the VA hospitals, I don't see some of these big name YouTube veterans at the VA hospital saying, you know, here's me taking care of the old World War II vets, here's me doing this, here's me doing that. Then I'll consider some worthy charitable stuff when you're asking for $100,000 to buy yourself a studio and video cameras and pay people. I got people, I got veterans that work with me on some of my handyman projects and remodel stuff around town. Okay, I don't think any of us are breaking over 30 grand a year. And so if you're asking for $100,000, that's a fucking no-go. And I'm putting this in the forums that I moderate, which you're probably not even aware of, because when we're asking for your help to help get Charles Dyer out of hot water, it was like, oh, we didn't have time for it. Didn't have time for it. I'm too famous. I mean, fuck, man. It's down here in the fucking trenches where shit's going on, not up where you're at. So if you're driving a vehicle that's less than 10 years old, if you're waving tens of thousands of dollars worth of weapons in front of the cameras, don't e-bag, man. And you can watch my channel for worthy projects. I'm not even raising money for myself. The other guy in this, he's trying to raise money to further this project a little more because it's going to be his thing. That's called worthy cause, okay? That's why when we look at philanthropy and charity and things like that, we look for worthy cause. And when we're looking at worthy cause of you waving guns in front of the camera and talking about how badass you are and shit, you know what? That's a little bit more in the P.T. Barnum turf, okay? That's one reason. I don't even know who won the last Super Bowl. I don't know who won the last World Series. I got some pro basketball player lives next to me, drives this fucking $80,000 four-door Porsche. I don't even know his name. I know he played for, somebody else told me he played for the Houston Rockets. Great, man, great dude. I don't think he's e-begging, okay? So, you know, if you're famous and using that fame to e-beg, the chances are something that's happening with you, that's happening with a lot of other people is production companies are getting a hold of you. They want you to be in a reality show or something like that. Have a talk with them. See how it works. See what they pay. All right? Because we still live in a country. The shit is not on the fan. We have a functioning economy. You can work and you can earn money too.